that was really, it was a turnaround. That was that just showed me that God was with me. Not only that, this lady, she worked in her family store. That's where she ended up taking me because there was no one home to open the door for me. My sister hadn't come in from school or anything. My parents really didn't know about all that I had experienced in California. But I do know that her prayers is what helped to bring me back. So the lady at the store, she was helping the children who were coming home from school, and the children were in their store buying candy and eating, and off to the side was like another lady sitting in a rocking chair. She was just sitting there, and she asked the question. She says, "Girl, where you come from?" I said, I came from California." She said, "How you get here?" I told her I hitchhiked. She said, "Girl, you blessed." "You so blessed." And I said, "I guess, I was blessed." And then I was beginning to know. I knew I was brought up as a Christian. I was in church. I was there. Did not realize the life that are the various journeys I would go through. God was building the relationship that I had with Him, and I really learned then at that time. But
I was going to ask, through that experience, because we, in life, especially at that age, you think you know more than you do, and you go through things. At this point of your life, what would Linda tell this Linda tell that Linda, or is there any advice you would give yourself, if you could, now looking back at it? There may be another person in that same situation. Is there any particular thing you would say?
yes, I would tell a teenager today, young lady, that she's loved, and to love herself. That she's beautiful, that she doesn't have to play herself short, accept those things. Because that, to me, what I went through, although I had to, in order to talk about it, I had to go through that. Because I feel that God knows who's going to help others, and that's what I want to do. I want to help other teenage girls or young ladies in that situation who plays themselves short, who has no confidence in themselves. Lack of confidence has a lot to do with that, lack of who they are.
So, going back, and that was great information, by the way, into the story. So you're back at the store now. You went home, parents were not there, she brought you back, and then you were saying that you were, I guess we could pick back there. I believe that's where we stopped with
Right. The lady that picked me up on the highway, after she took me back home, she gave me her phone number and everything to contact her at another time. Her and I could go skating or something. I called that number and no one knew her. They did not know. They had never. I went around to the store. They had never seen her, but I did see the lady who was in the wheelchair, and not in the wheelchair, in the rocking chair. She was in the rocking chair. Seemed to be an elderly woman. She was in the rocking chair, but she was the one that was up and serving the children. And the man that she called her uncle was behind there also helping her. And what happened was they did not know her. They told me, we don't know who you're talking about.
Wow. Wow.
So that in itself made me know that I had an encounter with angels. I had to have had an encounter with angels from the time I left Albuquerque to the time I got to my mom's home, crossing the street.
When you, so at some point I know parents and your family came home. What was that, when your initial interaction with them, how was that?
Since no one knew that I was on my way home, I told my mom I was going to hitchhike, that would have been one of her scariest moments. She would have probably told me, no, I'm sending for you. But in the past, when I had decided to come home and then turned around and went back to California, I didn't want that to happen. I thought that I had put enough on my parents to turn around and go back to something that wasn't even good for me. So I stayed, and I just said that I'm gonna make it home, and I did. So just seeing my mom and my dad and my sister was so, I had made it, I was safe. And I had a meal, Mom cooked a meal that was so delicious, it just would not stay on my stomach. Like I said, I weighed 90 pounds soaking wet. And that was an experience.
So
That was an experience.
at this point in your life, you had been in California at 17. So at this point, how long were you there?
3 years.
3 years. So you're 20 at this point. And then, life happens. So during that time, after that, what were some things? Because like we just mentioned, you became a mom yourself. So, when was it that, what age or what point of your life you start having kids and start having that transition into the next phase?
That's one thing. When I came back home, I was raring to go to build myself back up and to become someone, to do something, to make it better. One of the things I did do was apologize constantly to my mom, because in the Bible it says, honor your parents. I didn't feel as though I honored them. But that's one thing. The Bible says also, train up a child in the way in which they should go, and that they will return to it. But my mom was, like I said, she was a praying mama. She was. And in her praying, she did bring us up in the fear of the Lord. And when I came back, that's where I was. I was helping others. I was with my sister. I began to work in the church. I began to work in youth groups. I was the actual evangelistic teacher. I was the youth mission teacher. I worked in the community with children who were less fortunate. Those are some of the things that I did after coming from California. I did not have my children, my two girls. I have two beautiful girls. I have a daughter Michelle, and I have Melissa. I did not have children until I was 30 years old. So within that span of time, I would work 3 jobs at a time. I was a hard worker, trying to, I guess you would say, make up the time that I did not do when I came out of high school. I did not go to college until I was even older than that. It was after I had children. So why do I tell you all of this? It's because we all have a life. And my life was full of different choices I've made. And the choices that you make in your life, you learn from them. And you learn from them to do better. You experience those things. If you were not pruned, I was in the process of being pruned. Yes, in the process of being pruned. And I began to grow into a beautiful blossom in helping others. And so I've learned in life that the things that you do for others is helpful.